Hey YouTube, Joyboy here. So I got a theory for y'all today, and this one is going to be fantastically interesting. I love things related to the Void Century, and this is definitely related to the Void Century. And I want to discuss it as completely as possible. But for now, I think more than anything what I'm going to do is plant the seed in your minds, a seed of thought that will really, I think, inspire a lot of imagination within the community, which is I don't think anyone has theorized this. And I think that we can take this idea even further than how I'm going to take it in this theory post, but it's fantastically interesting. And what I want to talk about is the Sea Kings. So here's what we know about the Sea Kings. The Sea Kings are located in vast quantities within the Calm Belt, and in other places they're far less likely to appear. We also know that the ancient weapon Poseidon is the reincarnation of the queen. Basically, she is the queen of the Sea Kings. She's able to control them and tell them what to do. And we also know that the Sea Kings, despite our initial perception of them back when they were first introduced, are actually far more intelligent creatures than we could have ever thought that they could have been, which is that whenever Shirahoshi called the Sea Kings to save Fishman Island and stop the Noah, we actually get lines of dialogue or lines of thought from the Sea Kings in which they comment on Luffy's resemblance to another man that they met, Gold Roger, and sort of historically their role in regards to Poseidon, which is that 800 years ago during the Void Century, the original Poseidon gave them an order basically to, I guess, wait for the day in which they would carry the Noah. And so I first want to comment on their intelligence. There's not a lot that separates man from beast, but one thing that is commonly considered to be the great difference between us and them is our intelligence, our ability to communicate, our ability to think and rationalize. And honestly, the Sea Kings are just, it seems like, similarly on par with the humans in the One Piece world with their intelligence. They can communicate, they can think, they can rationalize, and they can remember. And so with this being said, the Sea Kings are not much different from humans and other races of the One Piece world. And so we know that the Sea Kings can take orders, and they remember these orders for a long time. An order from the Void Century, they were still waiting to carry out this order to carry the Noah. And I think that this is absolutely fantastically interesting. It actually reminds me most of Zunisha as well, with Zunisha having some order in the distant past, which it couldn't really break, which was to roam the world for all eternity, whereas the Sea Kings are told to wait for the day in which they would carry the Noah. So I look at Sea Kings as much more than just the vicious beasts of the sea. They're actually sentient beings. And so with this being said, it seems kind of baffling for them to be portrayed as sort of this evil force of the world that they always have been. Basically attacking people indiscriminately who comes across their path. If they come across someone, they're vicious and they destroy them. And that's really interesting to me. Why would they choose to do this? And it seems like this is actually a risk that they take as well, because if they happen to come across a person who is stronger than they are, which I guess isn't as common as it may be implied, because we're following a story from the main protagonist's perspective where he's meeting all the strong people of the world. But at the same time, doing what they're doing doesn't come without risks. And I don't think that they're doing it just to gain sustenance. They're not just eating these people. They're just, it seems like there's like there's something deeper going on here as to the reason why the Sea Kings attack people on sight, and in general are an obstacle someone has to overcome. And specifically when looking at this, I want to focus on the area of the world in which the Sea Kings are said to basically roost, or where they or their breeding grounds, which is the Calm Belt. Why are they there? And specifically, why do they prevent people from crossing the Calm Belt? I think this is a really deep thought here, but I think that there's something to this, which is that I think that it's possible. We know that they can take orders from the past and that they remember these orders. I wonder if another order that they were given was to actually prevent people from crossing the Calm Belt, so that they for whatever reason, whether that's to keep people from going into the Grand Line, keep people from leaving the Grand Line outside of the specific routes that they found that can lead them out of the Grand Line, or that there's something within the Grand Line that's worth hiding. All of these ideas come to mind when thinking about what the Sea Kings could potentially be doing there. And let's go back to the Void Century, okay? Let's go back to what we know about the Void Century, which is it was a conflict between the Ancient Kingdom and the 20 Kings. I think that this fight centered within the Grand Line. Firstly, you have Ancient Kingdom allies that are strewn across the Grand Line. And then secondly, we know that Marijoa is based also within the Grand Line on the Red Line. And we know that two of the kingdoms that were part of the original 20 Kings, Alabasta and Dressrosa, their kings, those islands were also based within the Grand Line. So I think that this conflict began within the Grand Line. This is where the Ancient Kingdom and the 20 Kings originally fought during the Void Century. But we know that the Ancient Kingdom lost, but they also possessed this awesome weapon, Poseidon, this person who could control the Sea Kings. And so this is my main thought that's going on here. But I don't think that we should be so exclusive with this, because I think that there could be other reasons as well. But it makes a ton of sense for at the end of the Void Century, the Ancient Kingdom is about to lose this war. These ideals that they were fighting so long to protect. For Poseidon to give an order to the Sea Kings before she died, or sometime nearing the end of the war, telling the Sea Kings to surround the Grand Line and protect it, prevent the people of the 20 Kings from leaving the Grand Line, or attempt to prevent them from leaving the Grand Line, in order to prevent the spread of their ideals that the Ancient Kingdom disagreed with and was the source of the conflict of the Void Century. However, I think that if this is true, this plan failed on multiple occasions. First of all, there became known at least one way, if not more, of leaving the Grand Line, despite going, or other than going through the Calm Belt, which is that Reverse Mountain exists so that people can enter the Grand Line. We also have indication that the 20 Kings also managed to find a way to leave the Grand Line as well, because the world government ended up making a bridge in the East Blue at the location of Tequila Wolf 700 years ago. So at some point they found a way to leave as well. This could have just been a strong crew, or they, I'm not exactly sure how exactly they did it, but it's implied that they found a way to do it. And then additionally, recently, Vegapunk discovered a way to coat the bottom of marine ships in sea stone so that the Sea Kings can't detect the ship's presence. And so at this point in time, the world government really came up with a really foolproof way of being able to cross the Calm Belt without any issues. But still, I think that for the vast majority of time, this barrier that was separating the Grand Line from the rest of the world was a powerful deterrent in the spreading of the world government and their empire and their ideals, which is that the easiest way to enter and leave the Grand Line has not been available for hundreds and hundreds of years since the Void Century, if Poseidon was the one to give the Sea Kings this order to protect the Calm Belt and prevent people from crossing it. But I want to say again that this isn't necessarily the only thing that's going on there. It could also be true that there's something within the Calm Belt that is needing protection, although since the world government can now cross the Calm Belt easily now, it would also have to be hidden within the Calm Belt as well. And so here I want to give a little shout out to my friend who I mentioned a lot in here, Beck. I'm not going to actually go in depth with this theory because this theory was really popular, it has been really popular, and he might actually plan on making a YouTube video about this theory because it was probably the biggest that he ever made. But basically the idea is that the entrance to Raftel is hidden within the Calm Belt, and that Raftel is located underneath or within Reverse Mountain. So I'm going to go ahead and put that post within the comment section and also in my description. So go ahead and check that out if you guys want a good read. But his theory and my theory right here share a lot of synergy. But I want you guys to discuss this. I think that this is a good platform for a theory in the future to build off of. But I think that there is just something about the Sea Kings being both intelligent having originally been under the control of the original Poseidon, and then being located in the Calm Belt. I think that there's something to that, and I want to hear what you have to say as well. So let me know. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to if you're new to my channel and you want to be notified for my future content. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.